Legal troubles for a couple of WWE superstars. Who might be on their way from Impact Wrestling to the Royal Rumble? And who else are we going to see Monday night at Raw 25? That, along with the look back at Smackdown from last night and a preview of tonight's NXT. This is the Pro Wrestling Report tonight for Wednesday, January 17, 2018. Welcome everyone to PWR Tonight. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube and Fight TV. Damian Nelson coming to you from the Pro Wrestling Report studios. And let's get right down to this week's hot news. Trish Stratus joins a list of other names who are now set to be New York bound for Monday's big Raw 25 spectacular. The list just keeps on growing. Trish Stratus announced on WWE programming this week, but also another name that was announced on WWE programming this week, Chris Jericho, making his return to the company for the big event. But also we've learned that Christian is going to be a part of Raw 25. I think that this list will continue to grow over the course of the week and weekend, and I don't think they're giving us everything they're going to give us, and that's a good thing at Raw 25 on Monday night. I am so excited to be there along with David Hero. We're going to be in the Manhattan Center viewing that portion of the show. As you know, the show running in both the Barclays Center and Manhattan Center in New York, and we will be in the Manhattan Center. But before we are there for that, we'll be bringing you a special edition of PWR Tonight from New York City. David Hero and myself on a special Monday edition of PWR Tonight, which means there is no prime time this Monday. Prime time will be back in next week, the following Monday, with an all-new episode following the Royal Rumble event. Raw 25 keeps getting bigger, badder, and hopefully it will deliver on Monday night. Folks, speaking of WWE and names and talents and announcements, one I don't think that we're going to see announced, but I do think it is highly probable that we will see participating in the Royal Rumble event. EC3, Ethan Carter III, has finished up with TNA Impact Wrestling, and he is seemingly on his way back to WWE. EC3 is going to be a likely participant in the Royal Rumble matchup. This is my hope, my wish, because I'm a fan of EC3. But we know he was in WWE. I think his name was Bateman, something Bateman. I can't find the first name, not that it matters. But he did spend time in NXT before going to TNA, where he made his name that much more known. And now could be on his way to bring trouble to WWE. We'll see what happens at the Royal Rumble, and we'll see what happens if we indeed do get that big debut. I think he could support it and sustain it, and I think the crowd would react very, very favorably to Ethan Carter being in the Royal Rumble. One other thing that's really heavily leading to this speculation is Ethan was booked on an independent wrestling show for Royal Rumble Sunday. He has since canceled that appearance. We talked last week on Primetime, just a couple of nights ago rather, on Primetime, about the injury sustained by Paige, which may have ended her in-ring career. Well, WWE has now confirmed that Paige will not be participating in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Another superstar that's injured, but with an unknown status for the Rumble that may have been made more clear now, is Samoa Joe, who suffered an injury to his right foot last week on Raw. He has been removed from the graphical images showing the participants in the Men's Rumble matchup. As you know, coming up on tomorrow night's edition of PWR Tonight, I will be sharing with you my perspective. And my perspective this week will be focused on the Women's Royal Rumble matchup, where only, I think, about 17 or 18 participants have been announced. That leaves a big void, a big gap, and we'll see who might fill in those blanks come Sunday. That on tomorrow's edition of PWR Tonight. Roman Reigns has been named in a scandal that might damage his brand a little bit. Roman Reigns was named as a client of a doctor who was arrested last February for steroid distribution out of Tampa, Florida. Roman Reigns had been suspended in 2016 from WWE due to a wellness policy violation, and wild speculation at that time indicated that it was due to an Adderall, non-prescribed Adderall. We don't know if this is related to that. We don't know if Roman Reigns was taking the steroids that this doctor was distributing, but we do know that he was listed as a client of this doctor. Now, I would say in all fairness, a lot of times these legitimate doctors have clients all across the board, and they become associated with them when crimes are committed, not necessarily indicating that they participated in committing any of those crimes. So we'll keep you updated on that story as it continues to develop regarding Roman Reigns and that steroid scandal out of Florida. This past weekend in Texas, one of the tag team champions on the Smackdown side of things, Jey Uso, was arrested for driving under the influence. Jey Uso was arrested over the weekend as WWE was doing shows in Texas and was released shortly thereafter. No charges. Well, he has been charged with driving under the influence. However, he has not been convicted of that crime. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully both those situations turn out well for both of those men. Folks, as you've heard from us for a while now, Shenanigans, the biggest party of WrestleMania weekend, comes to New Orleans and will be the only wrestling event during WrestleMania weekend on Bourbon Street. Look, folks, tickets are moving faster this year than they have ever moved, and I'm not just selling you there. That is a fact. Tickets are moving well ahead of last year's pacing, and we know that last year's event sold out. We had to turn people away at the door. So don't miss out on the opportunity to drink all night long on Bourbon Street for free. Unlimited drinks, including hurricanes, and access to our exclusive balcony on Bourbon Street with Kevin Nash if you go VIP. And right now we're going to be running a special offer for Shenanigans. 10% off, ladies and gentlemen. Get 10% off your VIP or general admission tickets by using the promo code RUMBLE in all caps at checkout. Again, 10% off your tickets for a limited time right now for Shenanigans, the VIP party event on Bourbon Street. Tickets are 10% off using the promo code RUMBLE. See what we did there in conjunction with the Royal Rumble. Shenanigans, the biggest party of WrestleMania weekend.
WrestleMania weekend's biggest party is coming to Bourbon Street. Don't miss an all-inclusive, all-night party Friday, April 6th. Hosted by Kevin Nash and over 20 other wrestling stars. Enjoy unlimited drinks all night long at the Bourbon Cowboy on Bourbon Street. Throw beads from the balcony. Drink and party with your favorite wrestling stars. Hurry, limited quantities available. Purchase tickets now at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
WWE brought us a new episode of Smackdown last night, and we saw a surprise end to the United States title tournament. There were to be two matches, as I told you about last night. There were to be two matches that would figure out and determine who the finalists were that would go to the Royal Rumble to determine the new champion. I did speculate that would be Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal. Those indeed were the two finalists, but it was an attack by the Singh brothers on Bobby Roode that got Daniel Bryan involved, and the match being made for last night's live edition of SmackDown. And folks, as the show ended, as many of you saw, a brand new United States champion was crowned, that in Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode going into the Rumble now with the United States Championship. Don't know if this means we'll see a rematch at the Royal Rumble, or if these two men will now be participants in the Royal Rumble matchup. Speaking of SmackDown last night, it was a unique look and feel to the show as the focus on the in-ring focused on the women, 6-women tag team matchup, and obviously the main event and the qualifying matches for the main event. But in between, we heard from several of the talents and superstars about their aspirations for the Royal Rumble matchup. And those videos were done in such a way that they were posted to Twitter, there were social media sort of feel to them. Didn't necessarily match the feel of WWE programming, but I see what they did there in showing you that these superstars have taken to social media to make their points known about their desire personally to be winners of the Royal Rumble matchup. And it actually reminded me that Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble match last year. Tonight, NXT is on the WWE Network, and we're going to see a huge tag team main event there, which will determine the #1 contenders for the tag team champions at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia the night before the Royal Rumble. The Authors of Pain will take on the Street Profits. NXT always a solid action, the most easily digestible 1 hour of wrestling television each and every week. That tonight on the WWE Network will bring you our thoughts, since this is being posted before NXT airs. We'll bring you our thoughts, my thoughts on NXT TV from tonight tomorrow on this very same show. Be sure to follow us on our social media channels. That's at PWR Show everywhere. On Instagram, PWR Show. On Facebook, PWR Show. On Twitter, PWR Show. Give us a follow, folks. Engage with us. Socially interact with us. We love hearing your tweets and seeing your tweets and seeing your comments on our videos here on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook. And we take all those interactions into consideration when we are figuring out what we are going to talk about on Feedback Friday, which returns in just 2 days right here to the channels of the Pro Wrestling Report. Feedback Friday with our new co-host, Kenny Starmaker Bolin, back this week. But in the meantime, subscribe here on YouTube to the Pro Wrestling Report so you get notified every time we post a new episode. As you know, PWR Tonight is here for you on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And also next Monday, special episode live from New York. It's PWR Tonight. Ooh, hey, doesn't that have a ring to it? Can't wait to say that. In Manhattan, one of my favorite cities in the world. I'm going to go to Hurley's on what I believe to be 47th and 6th, my favorite bar in Times Square. I'll be at the Manhattan Center for Raw 25, and then going to spend some time with my dear close personal friend Mean Gene Okerlund and enjoy some cocktails after the Raw 25 event. So it's going to be a fun night for sure in New York in celebration of Raw 25. Folks, be sure to check us out tomorrow when we have another edition of PWR Tonight. As I said, we'll be looking at the Women's Rumble matchup and talking about who else might be participating in that match. We know a lot of divas are returning to Raw 25. Let's see if that, and I say divas because that's what they were called at the time. Let's see what that all entails, and let's see who of that list may end up being announced potentially to be a part of the Rumble matchup. Also tomorrow night, we'll be previewing Impact Wrestling, and we'll talk about how they had a match that they taped that ended up being too hot for TV. That tomorrow night on PWR Tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here, folks, on our YouTube channel and on Fight TV. For the Pro Wrestling Report, I'm Damian Nelson saying so long, and we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of PWR Tonight.